The first sign came quietly, almost imperceptibly, as the orbital arrays of human space research outposts detected anomalies in the subspace frequencies that humanity had been monitoring for decades without ever finding cause for concern. At first, the scientists dismissed them as background noise, a ripple in the vast web of interstellar signals. But then subtle patterns emerged, deliberate, almost too precise to be natural. And as the analysis deepened, it became terrifyingly clear that alien intelligence had been intercepting human transmissions, monitoring not just our communications, but the designs, algorithms, and conceptual frameworks we had been developing in secret for centuries. And yet even as a council of Earth's leading scientists and military strategists convened in the deep underground command center beneath the remnants of the old city of Chicago, a calm understanding spread through the room that humanity had already anticipated such a breach, that decades ago, in silent preparation, humans had encoded layers of misdirection, predictive algorithms, and contingency plans into every signal sent beyond the Sol system, creating a labyrinth of information designed to mislead, to test, and ultimately to prepare for exactly this scenario. And when the first alien emissaries made contact, arriving in sleek, shimmering vessels whose geometries defied human comprehension, they believed they were confronting a naive civilization whose technology could be plundered, and whose scientific curiosity made it pliable and predictable, unaware that every calculation, every anticipation, had been factored into humanity's own strategic vision, that Earth's brightest minds had foreseen not only the methods of interception but the very intentions of the alien species. And as the ships orbited silently above the Pacific, the humans watched through sensor arrays with quiet confidence, not fear, knowing that when the moment came, they would demonstrate capabilities far beyond what any alien intelligence could have anticipated, that the hidden layers of human engineering, the subtly encoded knowledge passed down through generations, the ancient understanding of physics, mathematics, and strategy that had been cultivated across millennia, would coalesce into a response so precise, so devastatingly elegant, that the intruders would realize that the universe had misjudged humanity at its peril, and while the emissaries prepared to present their demands, to extract knowledge and impose their will, humans had already enacted a series of maneuvers, invisible yet perfectly orchestrated, manipulating gravitational vectors, subspace pathways, and quantum resonance patterns to create a controlled illusion of vulnerability, drawing the aliens into the very space that had been calculated to amplify human advantage. And in that quiet tension, the essence of human ingenuity revealed itself, not in brute force but in foresight, adaptability, and the capacity to see multiple moves ahead, to predict not just enemy actions but their expectations and their hubris. And as the emissaries finally attempted to breach the planetary defenses with what they believed would be overwhelming superiority, they triggered a cascade of responses that humanity had prepared in meticulous detail, a demonstration that while they had stolen knowledge, they had not seen the future that humans had been shaping for centuries, that every stolen secret had already been accounted for, every predicted action anticipated, and in the silent corridors of the underground command center, with sensors and screens illuminating the calculated chaos outside, humans prepared to reveal a truth that would redefine the galaxy's understanding of them, that they were not merely the sum of their intercepted transmissions, but a species whose vision, resilience, and strategic genius had already foreseen every threat. And as the first wave of alien probes was neutralized without a single human casualty, the Council recognized that this was only the beginning, that the future humans had always known would arrive not with fanfare but with quiet precision. And as the alien ships faltered, their captains realizing with dawning horror that their intelligence had been outmaneuvered before the first shot had been fired, humanity held the advantage not because of weapons alone, but because they had always understood the galaxy in ways the invaders could never predict, because humans had already seen the future and were ready to act with a clarity born of preparation, patience, and a determination to defend not just their planet but the very principles that had made them capable of such foresight. And in that moment, the universe began to learn a lesson it would not forget, that underestimating humanity had always been a mistake of catastrophic proportions. As the alien fleet struggled to recalibrate after the unexpected neutralization of their initial probes, human engineers and tacticians worked in seamless synchrony across the network command nodes scattered deep beneath the Earth's surface, their mind connected through quantum-link processing units that allowed instantaneous calculation of probabilities and outcomes across multiple theaters simultaneously. And while the aliens assumed their superior numbers and advanced sensor Technologies gave them ultimate control. Humanity exploited the smallest gaps, the tiniest assumptions the invaders had made, guiding them like pawns across an interstellar chessboard. And above the atmosphere, Earth's orbital defense platforms silently shifted their positions, cloaked and hidden, their gravitational manipulation system subtly bending trajectories so that every approach vector the aliens attempted brought them unknowingly into zones pre-calculated for countermeasures. While on the planetary surface, humans deployed stealth drones equipped with adaptive camouflage and predictive targeting that made interception of alien craft almost effortless. And yet the true genius lay not in brute force but in deception laid upon foresight, in the way humans had planted false data across centuries of outward transmissions, creating patterns designed to lead an invading intelligence into overconfidence. And now that overconfidence was crumbling, revealed as catastrophic misjudgment. And within the alien command vessels, panic rippled through the crew as systems failed in ways that predictive models could not account for, the technology encountering interference that seemed inexplicable yet was a direct result of human anticipation and preemptive design. And as the alien admiral convened in holographic councils, arguing over whether Earth had somehow accelerated beyond the expected technological curve, humans were already several steps ahead. There, scientists and strategists having mapped contingencies not just for known alien technologies but for likely improvisations, for the errors and miscalculations that hubris would inevitably generate. And as the alien emissaries attempted to regain control through brute force, they triggered a secondary series of defenses that had been prepared to engage specifically under such circumstances. Subspace distortions that subtly warp communication signals, making coordination nearly impossible. While humans exploited the same distortions to communicate instantaneously across the globe, the military units executing maneuvers that were precise, deadly, and utterly unpredictable. And as the first skirmishes erupted in orbit, with alien craft being disabled or redirected without warning, humans maintained the calm composure of those who had long anticipated such chaos, knowing that each failed assault reinforced a lesson that the invaders had grossly underestimated the species before them. And on Earth, civilians watched in awe as electromagnetic auroras sparked across the night skies, manifestations of controlled energy redirection designed to protect cities while simultaneously disorienting alien sensor systems. And throughout the planet, humanity's hidden research stations activated contingents and networks, revealing long-concealed assets, orbital weapons platforms, and strategic outposts, all synchronized to operate without direct human intervention, yet perfectly aligned with the humans' unfolding strategy. And as alien leaders began to grasp the depth of their miscalculation, recognizing that every step they had taken had already been predicted, every tactic accounted for, the true scale of human ingenuity became undeniable. That Earth was not merely defending itself, but teaching the galaxy a lesson in patience, foresight, and adaptability. That humans could see outcomes centuries in advance and position themselves so precisely that what appeared as chaos to outsiders was in fact an intricate symphony of preparation and calculation. And even as alien commanders scrambled to salvage control, humans executed maneuvers that not only neutralized attacks but began shaping the battlefield to their advantage, establishing zones of dominance that the aliens could not penetrate, all while maintaining a narrative of seeming restraint. A demonstration that humanity's power was not in aggression alone but in the perfect blending of intellect, creativity, and strategic mastery. And by the time the alien fleet fully realized that they had walked into a trap crafted over decades, the lesson was clear. Humanity had already seen the future, and the universe would learn that trying to steal from or manipulate this species came with consequences beyond comprehension, consequences that were only beginning to unfold. With the alien fleet reeling from the precision of humanity's defensive measures, the first human counteroffensive began not as a chaotic barrage, but as a meticulously orchestrated sequence that transformed every perceived weakness of the invaders into an advantage. And in the orbital corridors above Earth, where light bent strangely through gravitational modulation fields, human strike units moved in patterns the aliens could not anticipate, each maneuver calculated to exploit misalignments in sensor arrays and navigation systems that had seemed flawless until humans imposed subtle distortions. And on the surface, orbital bombardment systems, long cloaked and assumed dormant, activated in harmony with synchronized energy redirection grids, creating zones where alien propulsion and communication suffered interference that humans had predicted down to the smallest margin of error. And as alien captains attempted to regroup, they were confronted with an unprecedented display of Coordinated action. Humans combining advanced AI-driven command networks with intuitive, rapid decision-making that no alien algorithm could match. While within the alien ships, crews struggled to maintain cohesion as systems overloaded from the compounded effects of subspace disruptions, gravitational anomalies, and targeted electromagnetic pulses that disabled weapons and shields without harming infrastructure unnecessarily. And all the while, human scientists monitored every response, every recalibration, every improvisation, instantly adjusting the strategy to counter newly attempted alien adaptations, revealing a level of adaptability and foresight that made the aliens' concept of superiority laughable. And as the first alien vessels were disabled and redirected into controlled trajectories that avoided planetary impact but neutralized their offensive capability, humanity transitioned smoothly into calculated precision strikes, targeting command nodes, propulsion units, and key energy conduits with surgical accuracy, demonstrating that their power was not merely technological but strategic, their understanding of physics, subspace dynamics, and alien engineering allowing them to predict failure points the aliens had never considered. And as news of these initial victories spread across Earth through secure communication networks, civilian populations, though kept safely in underground shelters, experienced a collective or as sensor feeds revealed alien ships tumbling harmlessly into controlled orbital decay, while human coordinated rescue operations for the few captured alien scouts, not out of mercy alone but as a demonstration of discipline, control, and mastery over a situation that the invaders had assumed would be effortless, and the alien leaders, now forced into reactive postures, realized the extent of their misjudgment, that the species they had intended to dominate had anticipated every move, calculated every response, and had built a reality in which the invaders' very presence became their own undoing, and as humanity advanced, shaping the battlefield to amplify their advantage without overexertion, the galaxy began to understand that this was not a fleeting superiority but a systemic mastery born of centuries of observation, preparation, and innovation. And even as alien councils debated retreat or surrender, human commanders maintained perfect composure, each action measured, each maneuver aligned with a vision far beyond what any alien intelligence had conceived, demonstrating not only capability but restraint, intelligence, and the terrifying efficiency of a species that had already seen the outcome of the conflict and positioned itself so precisely that the invaders' every attempt to gain ground only hastened their own exposure. And in that unfolding struggle, it became increasingly clear that humanity's rise was not sudden but inevitable, a culmination of foresight, adaptability, and a relentless determination to survive and protect their world. And by the time the aliens fully grasped the scale of the threat they had underestimated, they faced not just a battle they could not win but a revelation that their arrogance had been the true vulnerability, and that humanity's future, carefully crafted over generations, was unfolding with inexorable precision, reshaping the very rules of engagement across the stars, and leaving the invaders with the sobering truth that they had encountered a species whose genius lay not merely in technology but in the unshakable intelligence, strategy, and foresight that defined humanity itself. As humanity's dominance in the orbital corridors became undeniable, the next phase of the plan unfolded with meticulous precision, revealing capabilities the aliens had assumed were decades or even centuries beyond human reach, and in a display that combined science, strategy, and raw ingenuity, Earth's hidden fleets emerged from cloaked subspace corridors, their hulls shimmering with adaptive alloys capable of dispersing energy attacks, while their propulsion systems utilized controlled gravitational lenses to maneuver at speeds that made alien intercept calculations obsolete. And as the invaders scrambled to respond, humans deployed orbital drones equipped with quantum entanglement communications, allowing instantaneous coordination across every theater without revealing positions, and simultaneously, deep space research satellites activated previously secret resonance emitters that interfered with alien sensor matrices, causing misreads, confusion, and the slow collapse of formation integrity across the enemy fleet. And on the planetary surface, human engineers activated electromagnetic lattice grids that extended into neorbit, creating overlapping protective fields that neutralized hostile energy bursts while amplifying human-directed subspace pulses that subtly shifted alien craft trajectories, guiding them into zones pre-calculated for containment and redirection. And as alien admirals attempted to counter with concentrated fire, their attacks faltered against offenses they could neither comprehend nor anticipate, and within alien command centers, panic became palpable as their predictive models, which had never failed, now produced only improbable outcomes and contradictions, while humans, observing every miscalculation, adjusted their offensive with new perfect timing, leveraging alien errors into further advantage. And as the first alien command vessels were disabled by targeted quantum disruption of their central processing arrays, humans revealed another hidden layer of strategy, the deployment of autonomous interceptor swarms capable of improvising tactical responses, learning from enemy movements in real time, and executing maneuvers no alien ship could track, effectively turning the alien numerical advantage into a liability. And yet even as chaos spread through the invader ranks, humans maintained disciplined coordination, their communication networks immune to disruption, their strategies flexible, and their patience unwavering, exploiting the arrogance of the invaders who believed that sheer firepower would overwhelm Earth's defenses, and as cities and orbital stations illuminated with controlled energy displays demonstrating humanity's capability to manipulate planetary-scale systems without harm to civilians, alien crews began to recognize a terrifying truth. Every human action was not reactionary but anticipatory. Every maneuver pre-planned across multiple contingencies, every weapon, shield, and ship designed with foresight that no intelligence had predicted. And as the alien fleet fractured, divisions emerged between those who wanted to retreat, those who sought revenge, and those who could no longer trust their own calculations, all while humanity continued to advance, transitioning seamlessly from defense to precise strikes designed to incapacitate rather than destroy, showcasing a mastery of warfare that combined ethics, strategy, and technological supremacy. And as the alien commanders grappled with the growing realization that their failure was not due to lack of strength but to humanity's unparalleled foresight and planning, humans initiated the final layer of their offensive, the activation of deep-orbit strategic nodes that projected controlled subspace distortions, subtly reshaping the battlefield to human advantage, isolating alien ships, disrupting navigation, and forcing retreat paths into containment corridors pre-mapped for every possible response. And as the aliens struggled helplessly within these carefully constructed constraints, the full weight of human genius became apparent, that Earth had not only anticipated their arrival but had orchestrated an entire conflict designed to expose every weakness, exploit every assumption, and demonstrate, with devastating clarity, that humanity had already seen the future and that the galaxy's arrogance, its belief that humans were predictable, weak, or simple, had become its own undoing, leaving the invaders to confront the unthinkable reality that they had misjudged a species whose vision, patience, and ingenuity made them not just survivors but masters of strategy. And as the final alien formations faltered under calculated human precision, the universe began to grasp a truth long ignored. Humanity was not to be underestimated, mocked, or controlled, and those who had done so would now bear the consequences of their hubris in ways both immediate and irrevocable. And as the orbital displays faded into controlled calm, humanity's true power, patient, calculated, and almost invisible until revealed, stood as a testament to centuries of preparation, foresight, and unyielding determination, a lesson the galaxy would remember for eons to come. With the alien fleet staggered and fractured, humanity transitioned from precise containment into strategic domination, revealing layers of technology and tactics the invaders had no conception of. And in orbit above the Earth, massive arrays of gravitic projectors activated simultaneously, subtly manipulating space-time to create corridors that guided alien vessels into zones where their propulsion systems would be rendered ineffective while simultaneously positioning human ships for optimal strike advantage. And as alien commanders struggled to regain coordination, Earth's deep space stations launched kinetic projectiles at velocities approaching relativistic speeds, not as reckless destruction but as carefully calculated deterrence that demonstrated control without unnecessary loss, while simultaneously quantum decoy satellites created false targets and subspace echoes that forced the aliens to waste energy and firepower on illusions, and on the surface, electromagnetic resonance grids amplified humanity's strategic influence, allowing precise tracking of alien movements and the ability to anticipate maneuvers before they were initiated. And as humans coordinated attacks across multiple theaters, their understanding of alien engineering flaws became evident, exploiting vulnerabilities in shield harmonics, energy conduits, and propulsion matrices in ways the invaders could neither detect nor counter. And within the alien fleet, frustration and fear escalated. As previously reliable tactics failed, their models collapsing under the weight of unanticipated human innovation, while humans remained calm, each decision grounded in centuries of calculated foresight, from the deployment of autonomous drone swarms capable of improvisational combat to the activation of deep-orbit relay nodes that extended human influence across light-minutes of space, creating a network battlefield the aliens could not navigate, and as smaller alien vessels were redirected into containment or rendered inoperable, humans began targeted negotiations, broadcasting messages of controlled dominance, making it clear that resistance was futile yet not without the possibility of survival. The invaders adhered to the new parameters, and while alien councils debated whether to retreat, surrender, or escalate, human strategists continued to implement layered operations that combined psychological pressure with tactical superiority, forcing alien forces into positions where even minor mistakes became catastrophic. And simultaneously, humans demonstrated their capability for protection and restraint, isolating damaged alien vessels and providing controlled rescue corridors, illustrating that their strength was matched by discipline and foresight. And as orbital and planetary operations unfolded, humanity unveiled their most closely guarded secret. Ancient human technologies recovered from long-lost civilizations, enhanced with modern engineering and quantum computation, capable of projecting controlled energy fields over interstellar distances, providing both defensive shielding and offensive precision. And as the alien admirals finally comprehended the scope of what they were facing, that humans had integrated centuries of historical knowledge, predictive algorithms, and technological innovation into a single coherent strategy, panic transformed into awe and desperation, for they realized that every assumption about human weakness had been invalid, that every intercepted communication, every attempt at sabotage or espionage had been anticipated, and that the humans had not merely prepared for this confrontation. They had designed it, orchestrated it, and were now executing it with flawless precision, demonstrating a level of mastery over both technology and strategy that left the galaxy questioning the very foundation of their own superiority. And as humans began to impose orbital and subspace control, isolating alien sectors and redirecting fleets into zones where surrender or capture became inevitable, the invaders confronted a devastating truth. They had encountered a species whose patience, foresight, and ingenuity had allowed them not only to survive but to dominate, to turn every threat into an opportunity, and to demonstrate, with clarity and control, that humanity's vision of the future had always been one step ahead, and that the arrogance which had brought the aliens to Earth was now the very weakness that ensured their defeat, leaving the galaxy to witness a civilization that was not only resilient but a master of strategy, innovation, and calculated power. And as the human fleets continued to advance, precise, disciplined, and unstoppable, the lesson echoed across the stars. Underestimate humanity at your peril, for they had already seen the outcome, and every move against them would play directly into their hands. As the alien fleets faltered under the relentless precision of human strategy, humanity shifted from reactive maneuvers and containment into full-scale strategic control, revealing capabilities the galaxy had assumed were unimaginable and in orbit. Massive arrays of adaptive gravitic projectors synchronized with subspace resonance nodes to create a controlled environment in which alien navigation and communication became unreliable, while human command networks, linked via quantum entanglement, coordinated every orbital platform, drone swarm, and planetary defense system with instantaneous response times, effectively rendering the aliens' technological superiority irrelevant. And on the ground, cities once thought vulnerable now became hubs of strategic command and logistical support, demonstrating humanity's ability to integrate civilian infrastructure into planetary defense without risk. And as alien admirals attempted desperate countermeasures, they found themselves trapped within human-engineered corridors where every move was anticipated, every firing solution predicted and neutralized before execution. And as autonomous human drones intercepted and redirected enemy vessels, energy field projected from deep-orbit arrays subtly altered gravitational vectors to disorient and immobilize larger alien ships, creating zones of complete tactical dominance without requiring destructive engagement. And while alien crews struggled with systems that failed unpredictably due to human interference, humans executed precision strikes on command centers, subspace relay nodes, and critical propulsion systems, further eroding the aliens' ability to coordinate. And even as panic spread across the enemy ranks, human strategists maintained perfect composure, orchestrating multi-theater operations that combined overwhelming tactical advantage with psychological pressure, demonstrating to the invaders that not only had humanity anticipated their arrival but had already calculated the precise outcomes of every possible strategy they could conceive, and simultaneously, humans leveraged their technological mastery to protect alien prisoners and civilians, projecting an image of disciplined, controlled power that magnified the invaders' perception of human superiority. And as orbital strikes and deep space manipulations unfolded, hidden layers of humanity's secret arsenal were unveiled. Energy manipulation arrays capable of reshaping subspace pathways, autonomous, multi-vector drones with predictive learning, and quantum-encoded communication nodes impervious to alien interception, all operating as a single coordinated network that functioned with intelligence, adaptability, and foresight beyond any alien expectation. And within alien command structures, this by setting as every calculated maneuver backfired, as if humanity had orchestrated not only defense but a demonstration of dominance designed to teach the galaxy a lesson in hubris. And as humans began systematically isolating alien fleets, redirecting them into control holding zones, neutralizing offensive capabilities, and simultaneously securing strategic resources across multiple star systems, the invaders realized too late that their assumptions about human weakness, naivety, and predictability had been catastrophically wrong, and that every human action was not spontaneous but the culmination of centuries of preparation, observation, and preemptive design. And as Orbital and subspace corridors fell under human control, the invaders faced the unshakable reality that Earth had not only defended itself but had demonstrated the scale of human ingenuity, strategy, and patience to a degree no alien intelligence could match. And with the galaxy watching, humanity's full potential became undeniable, a calculated combination of foresight, technological mastery, and disciplined restraint that redefined the balance of power. And as humans continue to consolidate control, securing critical sectors, neutralizing enemy threats, and guiding the remaining alien factions towards surrender or containment, the universe began to understand a truth that had been ignored for far too long. Humanity was not simply resilient or clever. They were visionaries, tacticians, and masters of strategy who had already seen the future and bent it to their will, leaving the galaxy with a sobering realization that any species daring to underestimate them would inevitably pay a price, measured not just in loss but in profound recalibration of galactic power. And as the final alien contingents acknowledged defeat, humans held the battlefield not through sheer force alone but through foresight, precision, and the unyielding application of intelligence, proving beyond doubt that Earth's defenders were a civilization unlike any other, and that their emergence as a dominant power was not sudden but the inevitable result of centuries of preparation, planning, and unwavering commitment to protecting their world and shaping the galaxy with calculated, unstoppable authority. With the alien fleets fractured, their command structures crippled, and every tactical advantage they had once believed guaranteed now turned against them, humanity moved to consolidate absolute control, revealing the final layers of preparation that had been hidden for centuries. And as orbital platforms, subspace nodes, and autonomous drones created a seamless network of dominance across space surrounding Earth and beyond, the invaders faced the unrelenting reality that every contingency they had imagined had already been accounted for, every potential route of escape or counterattack predicted and nullified, while human strategists coordinated planetary, orbital, and interstellar operations with precision that made the galaxy itself seem like an extension of Earth's own control systems. And on the ground, cities and settlements became hubs of both defense and coordination, seamlessly integrating civilians, engineers, and soldiers into a network capable of projecting influence across multiple star systems simultaneously, demonstrating not only technological superiority but a disciplined, strategic mastery of every aspect of warfare. And as the alien leadership convened, desperate to salvage what remained of their pride and forces, humans revealed their final demonstration: controlled subspace distortions that neutralized all offensive capabilities, energy fields that rendered weapons impotent, and quantum-encoded communication barriers that left alien fleets isolated and unable to coordinate. And while the invaders had once assumed that overwhelming firepower or advanced technology would allow them to dominate humanity, they now understood that every assumption had been catastrophically wrong, that humans had foreseen their actions, anticipated their intentions, and orchestrated a response that was as elegant as it was devastating. And simultaneously, Humanity extended calculated mercy, offering surrender terms that ensured survival for those willing to comply, while demonstrating that resistance was both futile and strategically irrelevant. And as alien councils realized that continued defiance would only exacerbate their losses, the invaders were forced to accept their defeat, acknowledging the unprecedented scale of human foresight, intelligence, and mastery of strategy. And as Earth's fleets retracted from their offensive positions, leaving captured alien vessels in controlled zones and guiding remaining forces to secure but non-lethal containment, the galaxy bore witness to a civilization whose patience, planning, and ingenuity had not only protected its homeworld but fundamentally redefined the balance of power. And in the silent aftermath, humans stood as a species unchallenged, their supremacy cemented not through arrogance or wanton aggression but through calculated foresight, strategic brilliance, and the unyielding determination to see the future, shape it, and act decisively when the moment demanded. And as civilizations across the stars recalibrated their perception of Earth, the message was clear. Humanity could never again be underestimated, mocked, or threatened, for the species that had once been considered primitive had revealed itself to possess a vision, discipline, and ingenuity so profound that the galaxy would never forget the lesson that underestimating humans was a catastrophic mistake, that their patience could mask unprecedented power, and that the future, which they had always seen, was now firmly in their hands, a future in which humanity's intelligence, foresight, and relentless drive to protect and master their world had reshaped the cosmos, leaving allies and adversaries alike in awe, and ensuring that the legacy of Earth's defenders would echo across the stars for generations to come, a testament to the indomitable, unstoppable, and unforgiving brilliance that defined humanity itself.